close now, but I'm afraid you're running out of time.
Jim Matthews is dead, gutted, hung upside down in a barn with his insides arranged next to a ram's head and a message carved into the wall that said, "Knowledge comes at a cost." 2 episodes in, and From season 4 has already crossed a line it cannot come back from. And now, the episode 3 trailer for Merrily We Go just dropped. And I'm telling you, things are about to get so much darker. Because while everyone in that town is still processing the grief, the man in yellow is already 3 steps ahead, hiding inside the camp wearing Sophia's face, smiling through tears, mapping every single vulnerability the settlers have. And nobody knows. So before episode 3 hits, let's break down everything the trailer is telling us, because there are details in there that most people completely missed. Let's start with the title itself, because From never names episodes randomly. Merrily We Go is pulled from a classic round, a circular song that never truly ends. It just loops back to the beginning, over and over again. And that is not a coincidence. The title points directly at the show's core theme this season: the cycle, the loop, the idea that everything repeating is not random, but by design. Boyd and Jade were already circling this exact theory in episode 2, and it cost Jim his life the moment they got too close to the truth. So, the show naming this episode after a song that never stops is basically a warning. The loop isn't breaking anytime soon, and anyone who tries to stop it is going to pay a price. Now, the most dangerous thing happening in this trailer isn't the monsters, it's Sophia. And I cannot stress this enough. The man in yellow, disguised as Sophia, spent episode 2 crying in Kenny's arms, taking inventory of every grieving and broken person in the camp, and essentially received a full psychological map of the town's vulnerabilities, handed over by Boyd himself. Think about that. Boyd, the man who is supposed to protect everyone, unknowingly sat down with the enemy and told them exactly who is loyal, who is breaking, and who could be turned. The irony that Boyd described himself as the person holding the whole town together and said that directly to Sophia, who is the man in yellow wearing a grieving teenager, is one of the most chilling setups the show has ever built. Heading into episode 3, Sophia doesn't need to make a big move. She just needs to keep playing the long game, and the trailer strongly suggests she's doing exactly that. But here's what's really terrifying: who in that town is going to see through her first, and will it already be too late when they do? Now let's talk about Julie, because what she's doing right now might honestly be the most important thing happening in the entire show. She nearly died while storywalking in episode 2, and instead of pulling back, she's leaning even harder into these abilities heading into episode 3. But here's what's really terrifying: who in that town is going to see through her first, and will it already be too late when they do? And look, I get it. Her dad is gone. She watched his body. She read that message on the wall. Of course, she's not going to stop. But here's the thing that makes Julie so different from everyone else in that town. She's not just watching the past while she storywalk, she is physically inhabiting it. If the town is structured like a story, Julie isn't a viewer of that story. She is a character who has stepped behind the page. That is a level of access nobody else has, and the town cycle was not built to account for someone like her, which means Julie is either the key to breaking everything or she's about to trigger something nobody is ready for. And the danger here is real because Julie is pushing her storywalking abilities past any safe limit she might have had. At the exact same moment, she's also the person most likely to see through Sophia's disguise before anyone else does. So she's operating on 2 fronts at once, trying to reach back into the past to save Jim, while unknowingly being the biggest threat to the man in yellow's entire plan inside the camp. That puts her in a position that is exciting and terrifying at the same time. And it gets even more complicated when you remember something from before any of this started. Back in the RV, before the family ever arrived in Fromville, Julie told Ethan that once people are dead, they can't be brought back. She said that. And now here she is, doing everything in her power to prove herself wrong. Will she manage it, or will the town punish her the same way it punished Jim for getting too close to the truth? Now, let's talk about Boyd and Acosta because this storyline is about to explode. In episode 2, Acosta tried to escape the town in an ambulance, and Boyd detained her and locked her up. And honestly, while it was extreme, you can see why he did it. He's terrified of what happens when people stop following the rules he's built to keep everyone alive. But here is the real problem. Boyd is no longer the moral leader he used to be. He threatened Elgin into silence and is lying to protect a town whose trust he is quietly dismantling every single day he stays in power. He genuinely believes he's protecting people, but the way he's doing it is creating cracks that the man in yellow can walk straight through. The residents are more divided than ever heading into episode 3, and the man in yellow is getting stronger by manipulating them from the shadows. So, when the synopsis says Boyd is trying to save Acosta from herself, I think it's actually the other way around, because the question isn't whether Acosta will break, the question is, how long before Boyd does? Let's talk about Ethan and Victor, because this pairing right here might be the most important thing in the entire episode. Ethan's dream about the Lake of Tears goes all the way back to the very night the RV crashed in season 1. It was dismissed at the time, written off as a scared kid having a nightmare, and largely forgotten by the characters. But the writers never forgot it. From does not plant seeds like that without a reason, and 4 seasons later, that dream is now a mission handed directly to Ethan by his dead father. So, whatever the Lake of Tears actually is, it has been woven into this story from the very beginning. And now, Victor, the man who has been trapped in this town longer than anyone else alive, is joining Ethan to find it. That combination, Victor's decades of experience and Ethan's apparent supernatural connection to the town, could turn out to be one of the most powerful alliances the show has ever built. Victor's drawings, his fragmented memories, his knowledge of things nobody else has seen, all of that suddenly has a new direction to point in. And that is genuinely exciting. But here is what makes the Lake of Tears so fascinating and so unsettling at the same time. It is not called the Lake of Answers. It is not called the Lake of the Exit. It is called the Lake of Tears. Something in this mythology connects grief itself to the geography of the town. Think about that for a second. This town feeds on pain. It punishes knowledge. It killed Jim the moment he got too close to the truth. And now, the one clue Jim left behind before disappearing is a place literally named after sorrow. That is not comforting. That is a warning dressed up as a destination. Victor has always hinted that the town responds to emotional states. And if that's true, then a place built from grief in a town that runs on suffering could be either the biggest breakthrough they've ever had or the most dangerous trap the town has ever set. And then there's Tabitha. The synopsis says she embarks on a desperate gamble, and after everything she's been through, that phrase hits differently. Tabitha is holding on through sheer will and fury right now. She just lost her husband. She already told Jade to his face that it should have been him instead of Jim. She's not in a stable place, and a desperate gamble from someone in that state is the kind of move that either changes everything or destroys what's left. And let's not forget, the boy in white is confirmed to be returning in episode 3. That entity has always shown up at the moments that matter most. And his return right now, when Ethan is heading toward the Lake of Tears and the whole town is fracturing, is not a coincidence. So here's what I want to know. Is the boy in white there to guide them, or is he there because something is about to go terribly, terribly wrong? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and after that, go watch the previous episode breakdown next.